Early life. Born January 23, 1939. Ed contracted polio at the age of 14 in 1953, 2 years before the Salk vaccine put an end to the epidemics. He spent 18 months in hospitals and returned home paralyzed from the neck down, except for 2 fingers on one hand and a couple of toes. He slept in an iron lung at night and often rested there during the day. When out of the lung, he survived by frog breathing, a technique for swallowing air using facial and neck muscles.
She was told, she went to the doctor after I'd been ill for about 2 days. And polio is voracious fever. You're like 106 fever. So you're really going through a lot of dreams and a lot of hallucinations. So you're terribly sick. They don't know what you live without. Antibiotics didn't really work to stop the fever. She went up to the doctor and said, that's when I live or die. And the doctor said, well, maybe you should hope she dies. Because if he lives, he'll be nothing more than vegetable for the rest of his life. Now, I don't know how many of you had that happen to you, but I'm kind of and I use that really a lot because I think, first of all, that's such a dead serious thing. He's saying to a doctor, is my child going to live or die? And the doctor says it's better that he should die than live as a cripple, and there'll be nothing more than a vegetable. What he doesn't know. And I'm not sure why medical people and others around like to predict the most dire circumstances, not who you are. And almost everything that I was told, and you need to be clear about that. That somehow people relish or something in telling you the worst.
He attended school by telephone hookup until his mother, Zona, insisted that he go to school once a week for a few hours. At school, he faced his deep fear of being stared at and transformed his sense of personal identity. He gave up thinking of himself as a helpless cripple and decided to think of himself as a star. He credited his mother with teaching him by example how to fight for what he needed when school administrators objected to his graduation from high school because he had not completed physical education and driver's education requirements.
With my mother, we had to learn to fight together because there were so many people around with their little narrow rule books who were always willing to say no. It was so amazing to me. I know those of you that were waiting at the table, you must run into that a lot. You go to school and you want your son or daughter to go to regular school or have this church or whatever, and people find a way to say no. And sometimes when they're in a large bureaucracy, it seems like it's so cold, and it seems so difficult to be able to fight them. And one of my first struggles was I went to graduate from high school, and I was immediately told that I couldn't graduate because I didn't have driver training in PE. And of course, it's like a single Lisa job. I was the number 2 student in school, and I'd done all the academic requirements. My mother, she said something like, well, prop up behind the wheel and I'll run the wheel. He got very sarcastic at this guy, and then the guy said, well, he looked right at me and basically patronized me. He said, you wouldn't want to cheat the diploma, would you? That's really cold stuff, and and aside from being almost humiliated, working so hard and feeling that I earned it, and at the same time feeling like I wanted to kill a guy, both my mom and I. And so what we did was, at that time, first we threw the guy out of the house. He had to come to me. Which was very interesting for all that, and more of us could do that. And secondly, we began to say, hey, how can we make this? How can we change this decision? And we went to the school board, and it was no problem. The school board. All we had to do was say, hey, look, this is injustice. And in every way, I earned my degree. And what are you going to do about it? I got the first diploma of all students. But
After attending the College of San Mateo, he was admitted to the University of California at Berkeley. He had to fight for the support he needed from the California Department of Vocational Rehabilitation to attend college because his rehabilitation counselor thought he was too severely disabled to ever get a job. On learning that Roberts had a severe disability, one of the UC Berkeley's deans famously commented, "We've tried cripples before, and it didn't work." But other Berkeley administrators supported his admission and expressed the opinion that the university should be doing more activism. Ed Roberts is often called the father of the disabilities rights movement. When his search for housing met resistance, in part because of the 800-pound iron lung that he slept in at night, the director of the campus health services offered him a room in an empty wing of the Cowell Hospital. Roberts accepted on the condition that the area where he lived be treated as a dormitory space, not a medical facility. His admission broke the ice for other students with severe disabilities who joined him over the next few years at what evolved into the Cowell Residence Program. The group developed a sense of identity and began to formulate a political analysis of disability. They began calling themselves the Rolling Quads, to the surprise of some non-disabled observers who had never before heard a positive sense of disability identity expressed before. In 1968, when two of the Rolling Quads were threatened with eviction from the Cowell residency program by the authoritarian rehabilitation counselor, the Rolling Quads organized a successful revolt that led to the counselor's transfer. Their success on campus inspired the group to begin advocating for curb cuts, opening access to the wider community, and to create the Physically Disabled Students Program, PDSP, the first student-led disability service program in the country. Ed Roberts flew 3,000 miles from California to Washington, D.C., with no respiratory support in order to attend a conference at the startup of the Federal TRIO program, through which the PDSP later secured funding. The PDSP provided services including attendant referral and wheelchair repair to students at the university, but it was soon taking calls from people with disabilities with the same concerns who were not students. He earned his bachelor's and master's degrees from UC Berkeley in political science. He became an official PhD candidate in political science at Berkeley in 1969, but did not complete his PhD. The need to serve the wider community led to the creation of the Berkeley Center for Independent Living, the first independent living service and advocacy program run by and for people with disabilities. Contrary to common belief, he was not the founder of Berkeley CIL, nor the CIL's first executive director. He was teaching political science at an alternative college, but returned to Berkeley to assume leadership of the fledgling organization. He guided the CIL's rapid growth during a decisive time for the emerging disability rights movement. The CIL provided a model for a new kind of community organization designed to address the needs and concerns of people with a wide range of disabilities. The Ed Roberts campus mission is to ensure that people with disabilities can live independently and without discrimination. The Ed Roberts campus commemorates the life and work of Edward V. Roberts, an early leader in the independent living movement of persons with disabilities. Ed believed in the strength of collaborative efforts. He called it working toward our preferred future.